I can see why this movie was influential, but it's a little predictable as well. So Blood and Black Lace is a 60s movie by Mario Bava, starring Eva Bartok and Cameron Mitchell. And yeah, there's going to be some spoilers here. Blood and Black Lace is an old movie, so if you haven't seen it, I don't know what to say. Look, I saw Cameron Mitchell's name, and I'm like, it's him. Then I remembered what kind of movie I was watching. A Giallo movie. And I was like, alright, it's him, but some woman is helping him somehow. And I guess it's just one of those thrillers where it's the people you first suspect that ends up being the murderers. So a lot of interesting things in this movie. It's some decent pacing. It's pretty short. It's not that long. It doesn't overstay its welcome, which is nice. I like if you're going to be a little weird. I was going to accuse this movie of being cliched, but this is made in 1964. A lot of these kinds of Giallo movies hadn't even been made yet. This is one of the first in this kind of style. So it does set a trend. It's just, if you've seen movies that were made after this, you'll know where this one's going. And that's not a fault of the movie necessarily. This is the same problem I had with Treasure of the Sierra Madre, where you can see where both the influences that this film and that film have had on movies and TV and stuff coming out of it. So I think for me the most interesting part of this movie isn't really the acting or the story. It's just how it's shot. There's interesting colors and camera angles, and everything is always moving in such a way that even though the story is cliched, I'm never really bored. And the story is this. There is like this fashion group or whatever, fashion design label, and there's a murder involving one of them. And then slowly, one by one, they keep dying. Of course, one by one, they keep dying, meaning like all the women. All the men are suspects and things like that. And it's fine. Like, it does give you red herrings. It does give you all sorts of interesting things like that. But I always knew just who the murderers were. Yeah, and that's probably the biggest problem I had with it. You kind of know where it's going, and yeah. I guess if I was to recommend this movie, it would be, if you like Giallo films and you kind of want to see one of the movies that inspired that whole kind of genre a few years later, it's this one, Blood and Black Lace. It's a solid time. It's not too long, as I said, but you hire Cameron Mitchell, and I'm just like, it's him. It's Cameron Mitchell. This is also my first Cameron Mitchell film, well, that I've reviewed anyway. So, yeah. Wow. I see him, I just think bad guy. And I know he's not usually a bad guy in a lot of crappy B grade movies. He can be, but not always. Yeah. That's the problem when you cast like, oh, we need a bad guy. We'll cast this guy. He's known for being a bad guy. And I'm just like, that's the reason you shouldn't hire that dude. Hire someone who's known for being a good guy to play that role. And then it's more surprising, I guess, when they turn out to be the murderer. What do I know? So if you're like me, you like these movies, you want to see where they start, it's a decent time. You can definitely see how this movie influenced Argento, and maybe Fulci to a lesser extent. Definitely see how Mario Bava influenced Dario Argento, that's for sure. Like, this is a plot that's reminiscent of Bird with a Crystal Plumage or Deep Red or something like that. And yeah, cops are about as useless in this movie as they are in most Giallo movies. Except there's a lot more time spent with the cops this time. And I'm like, oh, okay, are they actually going to solve this? Nah. They never do in Giallo movies. This is a 6 out of 10. I appreciate its place in history, but a lot better movies came out after it. Still, it's a decent time. I'm going to put the link down below to watch this movie. It is free on not only Tubi, but also on the YouTubes. You never know. You come across an old movie, first thing you do is go to YouTube. Second thing you do, go to Tubi. 6 out of 10. pretty gory for a 60s movie, though. I'll give it that. Well, the violence is quite shocking. I can imagine this being quite confronting for a lot of people watching it. And then other filmmakers going like, holy shit, we can do stuff like that? That's allowed? All right, let's go crazy with it. That's pretty cool.